Welcome to Liminal Echoes, where we will dive into creepy stories, intriguing mysteries, and tales that are so strange they just might blur our perception of reality. I'm Kira.
And I'm Fox. Thank you for joining us for episode 19. Tonight's Echo takes us on a journey from the depths of the oceans to the stars. In the ever-expanding vastness of space, there are mysteries our minds cannot even begin to comprehend. Here on this little rock we call Earth, people have for centuries claimed to see evidence of some of those mysteries in our skies and oceans. Our curiosity has driven us to search for proof and possibility from these celestial anomalies to undersea phenomena. Are they real? Can we find them? And can we achieve the impossible, interstellar travel? Fasten your 5-point harness as we launch into the stories, the science, and the mysterious evidence hidden here on our own planet.
Yay! Let's get started with episode 19. Oh my gosh. Unidentified anomalies.
All right, here we go. In 1938, an 8-year-old Frank Drake is told by his father that there are other worlds in space. This sparked a flame of curiosity that would become the beginning of the official search for extraterrestrial life. At Cornell University, he began studying astronomy. In his time there, he would attend a lecture by astrophysicist Otto Struve that would reinforce his ideas about the possibility of life beyond our planet. After Project Ozma, his first attempt to search for extraterrestrial signals, I am struggling with that word today, extraterrestrial signals, was unsuccessful, he was contacted by Carl Sagan, who had heard about his work. At this time, Carl Sagan is just a graduate student. This meeting would become a lifelong collaboration in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or as we know it today, SETI. SETI uses large radio telescopes and optical systems to search for non-terrestrial signals or pulses from space. Unfortunately, to date, they have not found any conclusive proof of alien life, at least none that they've disclosed to the public. But before Frank Drake's father inspired his son's curiosity in space, a man named Carl Jansky, an American physicist and radio engineer, discovered radio waves in the Milky Way constellation of Sagittarius. Grote Reber continued Jansky's work, building a homemade receiver and a 30-foot dish antenna in his backyard. For the next 10 years, he was the world's only radio astronomer. And from his work, he produced the first maps of the radio sky.
That's wild.
Isn't that cool looking? His discovery brought interest from John Krause, who invented the helical antenna and used this design to build his first radio telescope with the help of his students at Ohio State University in 1952. They'd constructed a 50-meter array on university farmland. With this, they conducted a successful survey of the sky. However, Krause felt a much larger telescope was needed. His initial plans were for a 2,000-foot wide telescope, but funds were not forthcoming. So eventually, he scaled it down to a 360-foot design.
Yeah, I'd say that's scaled down.
Yeah. Well, he scaled it down to like 480, and even then it was too expensive. So he finally scaled it back down to 360, and he was finally able to get a grant from the National Science Foundation. And he would begin to build his telescope that would appropriately be named the Big Ear in late 1956.
Isn't that like barely less though, because 50 meters, it's like I guess it's like 150-ish feet.
Yeah. Well, so this one, so in his initial design was supposed to be, well, the first one that they built was 50 meters, which is what, like 150 feet.
Yeah, it's so insane.
And then, so
It's like
this
twice the
one
size.
was like twice the size.
Well, two and a
So
half-ish,
the,
right?
yeah, so the way this one works is if you're watching, you can see the diagram that I just pulled up on the left end, which I guess is, I think is the north, I think it's, yeah, is the north end of the telescope. There's a long flat panel, and that flat panel is mechanically adjustable, so it can tilt forward or tilt back to their discretion.
Like
The other end
send
that's
which
kind of
direction.
scooped, right? So the other end that's kind of scooped is stationary. The whole rest of it actually is stationary. And then the sound waves come in and hit that adjustable panel, and then they bounce over to the curved end of the panel, and then they bounce into two like megaphone kind of structures. And then the information is relayed into a radio receivers and a computer.
Okay.
So
See, there are waveguides in there. I used to work a little
yeah,
bit with waveguides.
pretty cool. It's really kind of I mean, from this perspective, it does look a little bit like an ear, but it's really pretty phenomenal what they created.
Ear
So
adjacent.
for approximately 10 years, the Big Ear would conduct a survey that would cover 70% of the sky. The maps created from this data proved to be useful to astronomers around the world, but the money ran out. Staff was cut, and the program was shelved. But that wouldn't be the end of the Big Ear. In December of 1973, Big Ear SETI program began with no funding and only a volunteer staff made up mostly of students. And less than 4 years later, on August 15th, 1977, at 11:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Big Ear would finally hear what it was designed to be looking for. The system was a collective of 50 radio receivers being monitored by a computer simultaneously. It would print out 50 columns of data, one for each receiver. And due to the minimal space, they rated the signals with single digits, 1 through 9. Anything higher than that would be assigned a letter instead. So like if it were 10, it would be A, if it was 11, it would be B, and so on. The system was largely automatic, set up to print out its findings that would later be analyzed by volunteers. And on that night, its printout showed a tremendous spike in intensity. According to the printout, the signal was 30 times higher in intensity than regular radio noise and was coming from the Sagittarius constellation. So a few days later, when Jerry Ehman was reviewing the box of printouts that had been delivered to his house, he was understandably amazed at what he saw. Wowed even.
Wow. Well,
So they continued to listen for the signal for years, but unfortunately never heard it again. So you'll
Jay?
see, so each column vertically, you'll see is one receiver. So all these ones is the first one. This 6EQUJ5 is the second row, and then so on. So each column is a different receiver.
I
So
thought they were
this shows
using
that,
hexadecimal. That's why I was confused by the J. I was like, NU,
yeah,
Q,
so
QUJ,
that's
all
what
of
I was
those
saying.
don't make sense.
So each column only has room for one digit. So
Right.
that when they ran out of 1 through 9, then they went into A, B, C, D, E, F. So you
And
can
that would
see
be
here
a
it went from
huge thing.
6 to E, which is like 15, to Q, which is, I don't know, 20 or 19, somewhere around there.
Very
And
odd.
you can see, right, so you can see how loud the signal got. And then it went back down to nothing.
Yeah. Well, hexadecimal only goes, I think it's 0 through 9, and then
Mhm.
A through F. But it doesn't go
Yeah,
past
initially I
that.
thought, and some reports say that they used 0 through 9, but I didn't find any of these descriptions here that even showed a 0, even in this
Maybe it is.
diagram.
Well, even
There's
still, the
no,
letters go too far.
right, there's no zeros here. There's
Right.
just ones,
It is.
twos.
It is
So
0. I was just curious if it was similar.
I don't know. But space isn't the only place we've heard inexplicable sounds. In 1997, hydrophones picked up a sound so powerful it was detected across a huge area of the Pacific, over 3,000 miles. Scientists were able to figure out that the sound originated off the western coast of the most southern part of Chile in South America. It was nicknamed the Bloop.
Bloop.
And this is what it sounds like at 16 times its original speed. So if you'll click play.
It is like a bloop. Hold on, I didn't re-add an audio source for this. It's really quiet anyway, so I'll make sure it's turned up. Add an audio source. Okay, it is on there, so let's see if you can even hear it very well. Everyone listen really closely. I made it really loud for y'all. I'm so sorry. It's so fucking loud, I think. Oh my god. I think it's like really loud. It's pretty funny. Okay, anyway. That was really weird. It really was like a bloop. Like a big bubble.
I'm playing it again because I didn't actually put the sound in my Canva.
Sounds like a fart.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Sounds like a really big whale fart.
So as I said, it sped up to 16 times its original speed. And this is what it sounds like not sped up. If you don't have the bass turned up in your headphones, you probably won't hear this very well. And I did trim it down because the original video is like, I think 16 minutes long. So.
It gets really loud, guys, so I'm turning it back down for you. And then it gets super quiet again. What the heck?
Yeah, so it is way longer than that. That's just the primary point that I wanted to show. So as you heard, the original sound is a long, low frequency that is really hard for most of us to hear. So by speeding it up to 16 times its original, it brings the sound to a level that we're able to better distinguish and analyze. And it makes it sound kind of like a bubble or maybe whale noise. But we know that it's too loud for that. Scientists were baffled. They heard a wide array of sounds before, but this was by far the loudest thing they'd ever heard. Like I said, they initially attributed it to whales, but this was many times louder than even the sounds blue whales make. And they're the largest animals on the planet. For reference,
No, they're not.
blue whales. For reference, blue whale sounds can travel 500 to 1,000 miles in unobstructed, clear conditions. The bloop traveled over 3,000 miles.
That's crazy.
So, of course, the public did what it always does. It populated the dark with monsters, a creature that would have to be 2 to 3 times larger than the largest animal in the world. Because what's bigger than a blue whale? Nothing we currently know of. There have been a few other sounds that it's picked up over the years. The Julia, the train, the slowdown, but none that have been as loud as the bloop.
I don't want to. I do, but don't. Why is it called the Julia? Does it sound like it's a terrifying thing saying Julia? I would be.
Maybe, I don't know.
Every Julia should be scared.
It
It's
might
like,
have been a Julia that found it. Who knows?
Julia is what it sounds like. And you're just like, I quit. There's a monster down there and it knows my name and I'm not happy.
No, thank you.
It'd be so scary.
All right. Well, so what was it? NOAA scientists eventually determined that the most likely source of all these sounds was an ice quake. The cracking and calving of Antarctic ice, a geophysical voice loud enough to be misread as something alive. Though they officially deemed this to be the cause, technically, it's still just a theory.
I'll play the video. There's no sound.
Yeah, there's just to show you what they're blaming it on. Is like that happening, but underwater is what they're
Ice
saying.
melting.
What caused it cracking?
I was just saying yesterday actually that maybe it's a mountain forming way faster than we want it to. And that's why you can like constantly hear the Marianas Trench.
Mm-hmm.
Like this super mountain. And then I was like, what if the world isn't hollow or there's all this core and shit? What if it's just like oddly held together water? Like it's just water. Like you could literally swim from one side all the way through the planet to the other side if you could survive how deep it was, you know? It's like
Well,
that'd be crazy.
there was recent scientific discovery that there is an ocean under what we know as like the underneath our feet.
Right.
So like there's another ocean under the ocean that has 3 times more water in it than the ocean.
What
So
if
I
it's
think
like
that's all.
you swim through the earth to the other side? Break on
Could be
through to the
probably
other
kind of
side.
warm though.
Yeah.
Well, while the signals from space and the eerie sounds in the ocean are curious, what about visible, tangible evidence?
Right.
People around the world have, for decades, centuries even, reported claims of having seen mysterious lights in the sky and under the seas, objects moving at speeds and in ways that are impossible by the standards of our current technology. We have all seen pictures from Polaroids, clips from cell phones, and even high-tech underwater camera footage from people's attempts to capture unexplained phenomena in the skies and seas. And now, even the government is releasing videos from military encounters that seem inexplicable. We're now finding out that for decades, the US military and intelligence community have encountered aerial phenomena that defy immediate identification. Some of them were quickly explained as birds, weather balloons, or other reflections from the ground. But there are others that remain unresolved. In 2022, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO for short, was established to centralize and standardize reporting and analysis of UAP incidents across military domains: air, sea, space, and land. AARO's mandate includes collecting reports from U.S. military personnel, analyzing sensor data, and reviewing historical records dating back decades. In early 2024, AARO released Volume 1 of its Historical Record Report, reviewing U.S. government involvement with UAP sightings dating back roughly to World War II and the post-war period.
Bam, bam, bam.
This report did not include extraterrestrial technology had been found. It did not conclude that extraterrestrial technology had been found. Rather, it examined patterns in reporting and analysis without veering into speculation. The most recent public consolidated annual report from AARO uncovers covers UAP sightings and reports from May 2001, May, May 1st, 2023.
2001st. That's like when became 2001 and everyone's like, well, I don't really know. Do we just add a 1?
How do we
2001?
say that? Yeah.
Yeah, 2001st. It's the 2001st year of the millennia. Okay, I'm over it.
Covers UAP sightings and reports from May 1st, 2023 through June 1st, 2024. In that time, AARO received 757 UAP reports, mostly from military or aviation sources. Of these, nearly half occurred in the reporting year, and others were historical submissions. A substantial portion of the cases, after analysis, have been resolved to known phenomena, as I stated earlier, to things like balloons, drones, birds, or commercial aircraft.
It's a bird. It's a
Hundreds of
plane.
It's Superman. Hundreds of other cases remain unresolved, not because alien tech has been proven, but because data was insufficient to make a definitive identification. On an episode of Star Talk just a few months ago, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson interviewed Dr. John Kozlowski, who is the head of the Pentagon's UAP task force and director of AARO. They discuss how AARO handles reports from the public and military of UAP events, and how they are working to create a system to properly vet the authenticity and accuracy of information they receive. He explains that of all the cases reported, 40% have been solved, about 57% are unresolved are in active archive, and about 2% currently have no explanation and merit further analysis. He mentions one such case vaguely and describes it saying, in an undisclosed area of the U.S., a couple of law enforcement officers had seen glowing orbs a few hundred feet above the ground and a few miles away from their location.
A lot of people think orbs, even brighter ones, are supernatural, not extraterrestrial.
Hmm. True.
Interesting.
Well, another police officer, while responding to that call, is on the phone with his sergeant. He suddenly slams on his brakes because he sees what he describes as a triangular shape approximately the size of a Prius that is blacker than black in front of him. Odd car choice.
Yeah, interesting. It's like,
It
okay,
rears it.
plug
Yeah,
real quick. I don't know.
maybe. It rears up and shoots up into the sky faster than anything he'd ever seen. And the officer, who is terrified for his life, throws his car in reverse, trying to speed away, going as fast as 100 miles an hour, all while describing the events to his sergeant, who he's still on the phone with. He continues saying that as it was leaving his sight, it shot out red and blue fireworks or flares that were so bright it lit up the inside of his vehicle. He saw no evident propulsion and heard no sound other than that of his own vehicle.
How does something explode and you think there's no propulsion?
Yeah,
I feel
so
like you might hear no propulsion.
like even when a plane takes off, you can see like the gaseous emissions from its rear end. So I guess that's what he was referring to, that there was no like visible dust cloud or anything from it like shooting off. Because like from a combustion engine like we use, there's always that gaseous emission that would like show.
Right.
And
But
he's
I
saying
mean,
there
you're
was nothing
using
like that.
Prius as an example. And
Is the
then,
size of it.
yeah, but I'm saying like your brain goes Prius, not like, I don't know, Camry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Like a
Maybe
normal
he
car.
has a Prius. Who
Right.
knows?
But I'm saying, so to think propulsion and think of a rocket, is
Hmm.
strange being someone who used Prius as their example.
Yeah. Well, and two,
Famously known
so
to not have high emissions like that.
right, and so Neil deGrasse Tyson, he asked him, well, why is there no video evidence? Why is there no dash cam footage? Why is there no
I was gonna say, at
body
this
cam
time,
footage?
did they have that? Wait, this is
So
this is the
from
2020s, right?
yeah, so this happened within the last 2 to 3 years, and so yes, all of those things do exist, and he says that for whatever reason the officer didn't turn on his dash cam, but and I looked it up. I was like, well, do dash cams, are they always on? Do they turn on automatically? How do they work? And they're not always on to save energy, but they can be turned on manually. They are automatically activated in most cases if they turn on like their overhead lights, their emergency lights, or if they're in like an accident, then they'll automatically start recording. So my theory is if he throws his car in reverse and floors it, would that not indicate an emergency to his car to start recording?
Right.
Because it seems to me that that would be going 100 miles an hour backward, which is a feat in it of
I was
itself
gonna
for a
say
car.
100 miles an hour forward is a thing. Like that
Yeah,
takes a good build up to. This must have been the middle of nowhere, like West Texas or
right,
something.
right. Um,
Driving out to
or maybe
Marfa.
like
Yeah.
the desert or something. Who knows? But um, yeah, because he says it's an undisclosed location because it's an open case, so he wouldn't discuss any details.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was
drive 2 hours west of your house is the
yeah,
desert. It is so flat. It
exactly.
is terrifying. Like it is I went way fast on that road.
Yeah. So a case they claim to have solved is the Go Fast case, which a lot of us have probably heard of. In January 2015, an F-18 Super Hornet was flying off the coast of Florida when it encountered a UAP, seemingly flying at immense speeds. The pilot recorded the event on their infrared camera. We're going to play this video. And this one does get a little loud as well, so
Wait, it gets really loud. Okay, hold on.
not super loud, but
Okay.
they do scream at the end. So what the fuck is it?
No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at it fly.
It
Okay,
sounds
so
like they were struggling. They're like holding their breath, trying to get it to like lock on, and then they finally got it.
right.
They're just
So
like, yes.
AARO later determined through analysis that this object was not actually moving at extreme speeds, but was most likely a balloon coasting on the wind, and that the pilot was experiencing the parallax effect, which is the apparent displacement on the position of an object viewed along two different lines of sight. And here's a little diagram kind of explaining what that looks like. That seems like the opposite of what occurred to me.
Well, it's like when you're looking at a plane and it looks like it's hovering, right? It's the opposite
Right.
of.
So the thing that's far away would be moving slower, but you saw he was struggling to catch up to it, to even lock onto it. So how
I
is that
suppose if you're
parallax? That doesn't
also
make sense.
moving.
Mm-hmm. You're
Yeah,
moving
because I'm
fast,
thinking
and it's
when you're
moving
going down the
fast, and you're trying to
highway,
lock onto it.
right? If I'm going down the highway and there's something gently flying through the town next to me, I would go by pretty quickly. Especially if they're trying to catch up to it in a way with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I felt that way
Mm-hmm.
before. You know, I've just like everyone else that is in our group of people have come into
Yeah.
contact with an octane before. Like, I get it, but
How are you moving so fast?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, another event attributed to the parallax effect is the Mount Etna event. In December 2018, a U.S. military drone, which was they said it was an MQ-9 drone, was flying over the Mediterranean and captured infrared footage of a seemingly anomalous object appearing to be moving through the scorching heat of the eruption cloud of Mount Etna. So this is that video, if you want to play that. Oh, I went too far.
Oh,
No,
this is
I was
15. I was like, what? Yeah, I'm
I went
okay.
too far. It's 16. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here now.
There we go.
It's so crazy to see.
Yeah. So
Oh,
the
is this
camera
the
tracks
one?
the object.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so the camera tracks the object for almost 5 minutes before it eventually loses sight of it. And AARO determined that this also was just a balloon
A balloon?
and was not moving through superheated volcanic cloud, but instead was far clear of it.
A
It does
balloon?
not look like hey, I didn't make this determination. They did.
That's what I'm saying. Did it say that? Is
It's
that what
it
it
right
says?
there, right there. It looks like it's two things because there's a part where it's like kind of looks like it starts to separate and then it doesn't.
And it keeps peeking through the clouds. It's so funny. It's weird to see
Yeah,
something peek through clouds like that. Look how far
and you
away it
can
is
tell that
now.
it's going behind some clouds and coming through other clouds.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it looked like it was like showing just a part of it, but I realized it's really what
Yeah,
looping back closer now. That's
pretty strange.
I don't know about that. Also, how weird is something that you decided we're not going to record the erupting volcano, but no, let's chase this black dot that came out of it or appears to have. Like,
Right.
what? I hope someone else
Yeah.
was also recording the volcano because could you
I mean,
imagine being
they
paid to go
started
out
with the
there and
volcano.
they're like, hey, I know that it was cool, but what are you doing? You had one
Yeah,
job. You just had to look at it.
because if you go back to the very beginning of the video, you see it starts out
Mm.
looking at the volcano, and then you see that little dot come in out of nowhere, and then the drone's like, "Wait a minute, what are you?"
That's exactly what I'm saying.
ADD much?
Right. Well, and usually the drones are being like driven because they're being watched
Hmm.
at least. So that person was just like, yeah, this is fine. Let's just chase whatever that is. That's weird.
Yeah, so you have to assume that there was something else. There was another drone probably out there recording uh, the volcano, and you can see there's two gray bars at the top of this. They redacted something from the video.
Yeah, I assume
I
it
could,
was the number of the whatever the fuck that is. I forget their
yeah, or
IFF
maybe
codes and stuff.
yeah, or maybe the type of camera they were using. Who knows? At any rate, so this brings us to the jellyfish event, which should start playing automatically once you scroll to it. So this also was in 2018 and recorded by thermal cameras. They picked up this strange object, is similar in appearance to a jellyfish, hovering over a U.S. military facility or military base in Iraq. The cameras tracked it for over 10 minutes before eventually losing sight of it. It moves at a consistent pace and doesn't appear to change course or elevation as it travels across the base and eventually out to sea.
No
And
one's outside?
No, so in the full-length video, you can see people walking around, and I actually have the full-length video YouTube link next. So if you want to flip to that, and I think you have to double-click it to make it play, and then go to like 5 minutes and 45 seconds, and then let it play, and you'll see there's a group of dogs
at all.
that see it and then start chasing it. Right about here.
I can't press play. Oh, there it goes. Okay, where am I going?
To about 5:45.
There.
And then let it
I'll
play.
go back a little more.
It's right at like 5:50 that the dogs show up from the bottom right of your screen.
Okay. There they are.
Yeah, see, they obviously see it and they start chasing it.
Do they continue to run that way? Because there's another dog at the bottom that ran away from it, or the other direction.
Well, you can't tell because the camera continues to track these balloons. So this one as well was deemed to be balloons, which I don't know, because if you look at it, they don't move at
solid.
all.
Yeah,
like,
it seems.
The dangly parts at the bottom aren't like flowing in the wind if it's blowing in the wind. And then next I'll show you, I asked AI to show me a group of balloons blowing in the wind. They're not going to be still like that. No matter how partially dead they are, they're not going to maintain a specific height.
Right.
They're not going to go in a perfectly straight line. None of the people walking around, if you watch the full-length video, none of the people that walk around in the video are like, ooh, balloons. Nobody looks up and points at it. The only ones that seem to notice it are the dogs. And like I said, balloons move around. I mean, unless they're like super glued together, that doesn't make any sense, you know? So like I said, this one was also deemed to be balloons. However, seeing how erratically balloons move in the wind, even in a calm wind, this just doesn't seem plausible, at least to me.
That one's pretty weird. That one is super strange to me. And mainly because of the tails part. Like, I noticed immediately how strange it was that it didn't move at all. I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a plastic bag that's like crumpled up or torn up or something. And I'm like, but
yeah, and if you stay on the full-length video, it I think towards the beginning, it gets a little bit close. Yeah, you can see it close up, kind of as close as it gets. And it's just nothing on it's moving, which just seems very improbable for a group of balloons.
yeah, it's all blurry, of course, but it was clear.
Yeah.
Later in the video.
Well, yeah, because they don't want us to see exactly what they're looking at.
Those cameras are surprisingly clear, or these, not these, but like the shipboard ones. They see like super far.
And I have to assume that they're recording with other cameras besides just infrared, and then these are just the ones that they'll release because they're so anomalous that it's hard to determine what you're actually looking at. I like
the music that's with it.
Yes. So pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, the AARO program, excuse me. AARO is a program that was developed in theory to create a centralized hub for all UAP reports by military personnel. However, many of those whom have made reports have explained that they've experienced backlash personally and professionally for bringing attention to such events. Due to this, there have been several whistleblower cases initiated and new legislation proposed to protect whistleblowers. The careers and experiences of these military personnel have lent enough credence to their stories, however, that a hearing was finally held to reveal some of them to the government and the public. In July 2023, the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Accountability held a hearing entitled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Implications on National Security, Public Safety, and Government Transparency. During this live-streamed event, Ryan Graves, the executive director of Americans for Safe Aerospace, and the former lieutenant in the U.S. Navy and FA-18F pilot, in his opening statement, he says, quote, "I have experienced advanced UAP firsthand, and I am here to voice the concerns of more than 30 commercial aircrew and military veterans who have confided their similar encounters with me. Today, I would like to highlight 3 critical issues that demand our action. As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated. They are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena." He goes on to explain an event that was reported to him that occurred in 2003. He states, quote, "In the 2003 timeframe, a large group of Boeing contractors were operating near one of the launch facilities at Vandenberg Air Force Base when they observed a very large 100-yard red square approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities. This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains. There was a similar event within 24 hours later in the evening. This initial event was in the morning at about 8:45 a.m. Later in the evening, post-sunset, there were reports of other sightings on the base, including some aggressive behaviors. These objects were approaching some of the security guards at rapid speeds before darting off. And this is information that was received through one of the witnesses that have approached me at Americans for Safe Aerospace," unquote. Another witness discusses contact with the now famous Tic Tac UAP, like the one I mentioned a moment ago off the coast of Florida that AARO deemed to be a balloon.
Yeah, wait. The cubes, do they have like a size?
Yeah, they said it was 100 yards. And
So how is
and
this?
all
How's
for it
this
to like a
football
giant.
field coming at security guards? From where?
No,
Like,
so the initial contact was the big red cube. And then later
right.
that evening after sunset, there were smaller items, which he doesn't describe, that came after the people that were out working that night.
That sucks. Could you imagine?
Yeah,
The
that'd be
fuck
terrifying.
is going on? And no one's going to believe me.
Yeah. So this is testimony given by David Fravor. I think is how you say his name. Quote, "I am a retired commander in the United States Navy. In 2004, I was a commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 41, the world-famous Black Aces. We were tasked to Carrier Air Wing 11, stationed on board the USS Nimitz, and had begun a 2-month workup cycle off the coast of California. On this day, we were scheduled for a 2v2 air-to-air training with the USS Princeton as our control. When we launched off Nimitz, my wingman was joining up. We were told that the training was going to be suspended and we were going to proceed with real-world tasking. As we proceeded to the west, the air controller was counting down the range to an object that we were going to, and we were unaware of what we were going to see when we arrived. There, the controller told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for a few hours, and then going straight back up."
Hours and there's not footage of them?
Exactly. For those that don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space. We arrived at the location at approximately 20,000 feet, and the controller called merge plot, which means that our radar blip was now in the same resolution cell as the contact, meaning they should be able to see what is on the radar.
Right.
As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some white water off our right side. It is important to note, and this is still his statement, it is important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. All four of us, because we were in F-18F, so we had pilots and WSO, which is weapons system operators, in the back seat. We all looked down and saw a white Tic Tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north and south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping pong ball.
It seems inefficient.
There were no
I
rotors.
remember
no-
this.
Yeah.
I remember these pictures. Oh my god.
I actually made this one, so
I remember
'cause
the
I couldn't
images
find
of
any.
the object
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, so I created this image because I couldn't find any like it. He says there were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any sign of visible controls like wings. As we started clockwise toward the object, my WSO and I decided to go down and take a closer look, with the other aircraft staying high cover to observe us both and the Tic Tac. We proceeded around the circle about 90 degrees from the start of our descent, and the object suddenly shifted its longitudinal axis, aligned it with my aircraft, and began to climb. We continued down another 270 degrees, nose low, where the Tic Tac would have been. Our altitude at this point was about 15,000 feet, and the Tic Tac was about 12,000. As we pulled nose onto the object, within about half a mile of it, it rapidly accelerated in front of us and disappeared. Our wingman, roughly 8,000 feet above us, also lost contact.
I
We
realized
immediately turned.
Sorry, I
Hmm?
realized the photo I found. I was just looking it up. It looks similar to the footage from the beginning, the one that I'd seen, but it's like over the water. I think it,
Yeah,
yeah, but it is like kind of in one of the videos. It was going to show me. But yeah, I was like, I recognize that picture, but it's black and white, the picture I saw. And then, but you can see from the side because I guess the infrared, it's white on a dark background instead.
right.
Right.
Also, the video that I showed at the beginning, the first one that we watched, they also claimed that that one looked like a Tic Tac, and that's one that that AARO said was just a balloon.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Maybe because that one was off the coast of Florida.
13. The one on 13. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
So he continues to say, we immediately turned back to see where the white water was, and it was also gone. So as we started to turn back toward the east, the controller came up and said, "Sir, you are not going to believe this, but that thing is at your cap point, roughly 60 miles away in less than a minute. You can calculate the speed." And I did the math. An object traveling 60 miles an hour, or 60 miles in 1 minute, would be moving at a speed of 3,600 miles per hour.
Right.
That's really fucking fast.
Yeah.
But these phenomena aren't specific to the air. In an article by NDTV.com from March 2024, retired U.S. Admiral Tim Gallaudet, who testified at the November 2024 subcommittee hearing on the same subject, said these unknown objects can sometimes travel into the deep ocean waters without ever emerging. In a paper he authored for Soul Foundation, he stated that these large lighted craft could be in our deep unexplored oceans. He goes on to say, "We have less research on transmedium UAP and USOs than is ideal. These underwater anomalies jeopardize U.S. maritime security, which is already weakened by our relative ignorance about the global ocean. And their presence in the oceans at the same time presents an unprecedented opportunity for maritime science. To meet the security and scientific challenges, transmedium, UAP, and USOs should be elevated to national ocean research priorities." So I listened to some of his interview, and he talks about a submarine that people on a submarine had reported to him an event where what they thought was a Russian missile was coming for their submarine, and they were tracking it with radar, and they could hear it speeding towards their ship, and then all of a sudden it just stopped and was silent. with no impact. Yeah. And he said he has heard from different ships several situations similar to that. Pretty crazy.
So I saw, I was trying to find a reference point so we could figure out like what to compare 3,600 miles per hour. So this says
I don't think anything moves that fast.
it's called hypersonic speed. So it's approximately Mach 5 to Mach 6, which is the threshold for hypersonic flight. And
How fast does a launch go when it launches, like for a rocket?
well, so it's I was gonna say so hypersonic is 5 times the speed of sound.
Which we're not currently capable of.
Well, evidently that's not entirely true. But I don't know
Really?
about right now. So the X-51A Wave Rider flight test vehicle, let's see, says it's a U.S. Air Force program that successfully demonstrated air-breathing, hydrocarbon-fueled scramjet technology, achieving sustained hypersonic flight. Its final flight in May 2013 reached Mach 5.1, covering over 230 nautical miles in 6 minutes.
Yeah, okay, I found that. It says it set a record speed of 4,520 miles per hour.
Isn't that crazy? So that's wild because that means
But that was
That
in
was in-
1967.
the X-51 was 2013.
Oh, this is X-15. I'm sorry.
So the X-51 Alpha was in 2013. So this is what year are we in? 2023 for this?
Yes.
When it actually happened, or when he's giving 2024 is when they're giving
he's-
the
Yeah, when he's giving his report.
right. So 2004 it says is when he was commanding the strike group. So
Mhm.
that's 9 whole years later though that we do that,
Yeah.
or that it's released that we do that. Boeing does take a long time sometimes to do things.
Which is true. Well, and plus the government doesn't want to release any of this information to the public for various reasons.
Pretty weird.
I listened to another interview where and I can't remember who it was, but he's talking about it's the reporter guy who's also interviewed in that same U.S. committee thing, U.S. House
Congressional
committee.
hearing? Oh.
Yes. Right now his name escapes me, but he's been searching and studying. His whole career was to be a reporter, and he was an on TV reporter for years. And then about 30 years ago, he came across a UFO report, and just that became his career. So now he just reports on UFO stuff, and that's all he's done for the last 30 years. And he's talked with people around the world. And in one particular case that I was trying to remember what his name is, it's still not there. He was in Russia talking to scientists there, and came in contact with a report that he brought back to the U.S. and shouldn't have. But he said they only stamp confidential on the first page of their report, so he just
That
threw
is
one
a
away and
loophole.
put it in
Except-
his suitcase. But in this report, he states that when a
Improper
UAP,
marking.
a UAP was over one of their nuclear bases and shut down their entire system. So
That's really strange.
they couldn't have fired if they wanted to.
But I assume it means like nuclear powered, not
No, nuclear
weapons.
launch facility.
Oh, that's really interesting.
He said it took over control, and he said not only did it shut it down, but prior to that it had initiated a launch sequence, and they were scrambling to shut it down. But
They're like,
eventually
just kidding.
Yeah. I just want you to know we can fuck you up if we want to. We can start World War III and there's nothing you can do about it.
It's my party.
Yeah. So I was like, that is terrifying. But you can understand why, if that kind of thing is happening, that the government wouldn't want to release that information because that's a huge vulnerability
Right.
to
But you don't
suddenly
know what the
lose control
vulnerability
of your
is, though.
right.
So
And so, yeah, scary. But anyway, these are
yeah,
just a
I took
few
you far
of.
off track. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I mean, we're still talking about UFOs and shit. So, but these are just a few of the events that were presented and discussed in the hearing because it was hours long. But these men that were testifying were sincere, and those that were receiving their testimony seemed genuine in their interest and concern. So, where does this leave us? We know at our current level of technology that we are incapable of that kind of maneuverability of these UAP. We know that based on our knowledge of physics, that faster than light travel would be necessary to reach other planets in our lifetime is impossible. And you can look up the theory of special relativity that explains that. There are unexplainable sounds from space. There are mysterious sounds in our ocean. There are objects flying through our skies and zooming through our seas at phenomenal speeds and then stopping on a dime. People from all walks of life have documented experiences that remain unexplainable. And scientists have explained to us that faster than light travel is impossible. So that begs the question, are the UAPs extraterrestrial? Or are they from here? Or is faster than light travel actually possible and we just haven't figured a way around the laws of physics that say it isn't?
I I read a series. I'm reading a series, and the spacecraft is controlled by like playing with gravity, kind of. So you know how you can
Mhm.
create, well, in sci-fi you always see they create artificial gravity by like turning it on and off so that you're standing or you're floating around. So
Right.
it uses the same technology to move around. So it's just like you're changing that relationship by adjusting your own, I guess, magnetic pull or electromagnetic field or something. I don't know, but it's
But
interesting, and that's what that
yeah.
always, when you stop suddenly and stuff. That's what that makes me think of.
Yeah. And then you also see in those shows, they talk about having inertia dampeners that would prevent you from like slamming into the front of your ship when it stops. Because otherwise, if you didn't have an inertia dampener, your body would just explode or
Right.
be crushed or what have you from one, the launch, and then two, the immediate stopping, that
Well,
would
think
just
about,
destroy a person.
what is it, 9.8 meters per second. I think is gravity. I don't know. Wow, I don't remember. Hold on. I want to say it's
Don't hear me
9.81.
lying.
Um,
It's been a hot minute since I was in school.
gravitational force. Oh my god. Meters per
But then
second squared.
also in
9.81 meters per second squared. Bam, bam. Look at that. I remember that.
what
Don't
did you?
remember why I walked into a room though. But think about how fast that is. So
Yeah.
we've already established like 9.8. That's like times 3. So we end up with, say, 30 miles an hour. Or 30 miles an hour. Oh my god. 30 feet per second. You're suddenly yanked down.
Mm-hmm.
30 feet's that's 3 stories nearly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good three-story building.
Yeah,
We
in a
would be
second.
we would all be in the earth.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
I've seen movies where they talk about that, the earth stops spinning, and I'm like, that is physically impossible for us to have survived that. Because if the earth just suddenly stopped, we would all literally just be crushed. We would just be mush.
Yeah.
It would be like the whole earth would just because of the gravity.
Yeah,
It would be the size of the moon.
we would find out if you could swim all the way through the earth.
Yes.
Unrelated,
On a
super
molecular
fast.
on a molecular level, because
Yeah.
that's what we would be.
We would come in so fast we just shoot out into space from the ocean on the other
Just
side. And you
move
hope
us out the
that
other
you don't
side.
get you hope that the exit on the other side is water. You hope it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because you'll die anyway. But in your picture, it looks, so the AI image for the submarine, it looks like there are cinnamon, like rolls of cinnamon, like cinnamon sticks in the
Okay, so this was
there's
so I
just
used
rolled
a
cinnamon
AI
sticks in
generator
there.
to create that submarine, and I said cigar shaped UAP, and it kept giving me
The
cigar
gorillos?
colored UAVs. I'm like, I don't want a shit log. I need to
That's
look mechanical.
hilarious.
But I was watching so the other day I had watched a I watched a whole bunch of documentaries. I watched one that was called What They Don't Want Us to Know or something like that. I actually have it listed in my source list, so I could just scroll down and tell you
Very nice.
what it was called. The UFO movie they don't want you to see. Okay, before I watched that, I watched A Terror in the Sky, which is the first scientific documentary where people go out and try to videotape and record UAP technology or events. And they go out to California and they use the scientific method. They have a person on the mainland, they have a person on Catalina Island, and they have a person who is ready to take off in a plane or helicopter at any given moment for if they see something. And on but they only have 5 days because that's all the money they had enough to do to the study for. So it's like the third or fourth day when they finally get some activity and they send out the plane and they have telescopes from both points looking up, trying to triangulate its position. And I thought that was really cool that they're actually making a scientific effort to get more information about these things. And then I watched the UFO movie that they don't want you to see.
You're like, I went into a deep, dark hole and it didn't stop.
That one just made me sad because
Oh,
it is all technical information. It is, it's presented in a really, really effective way, but it is essentially this person who he goes and interviews a bunch of scientists, astrophysicists, astrobiologists, and they all tell him that faster than light travel is physically impossible because of the theory of relativity, special relativity, which is that the faster you go, the longer and heavier you get.
right.
So it would literally just tear you apart to go that fast.
It's like the G-force
So,
thing.
right. So without some kind of inertia dampener, it's not physically possible for humans at this point to travel like that. And they're saying that it will never be possible, which to me is like, again, is like, so are they not from space, or they're from space a long time ago and are just hiding in our oceans and under the earth? And are they some other species or some ancient species of population that were here and humans just kind of took over, and so they just submerged into the ocean to stay hidden because they want to keep their technology to themselves? I don't know.
Sounds like our theories about Bigfoot too. Like everyone's just trying to hide from us because we're fucking awful.
That's absolutely true, because they also talk about that, if we find one, and they talk about this in the congressional hearing too, saying that they have found UAPs and they are dissecting them and they are trying to reverse engineer them. There are people who have reported that to AARO and to the other Americans for Safe Aerospace or whatever it was called. And they're announcing this in the congressional hearings. So, they're not who are speaking on, at risk of, perjuring themselves. So why would they go to, Congress and lie? I don't know. But
I do know
another thing
that it was super fast.
It's okay.
The feeling when you see something and you know what it is and you recognize it. You're like, I've seen it before, or like, I'm looking at it for a long time. I know what that is. And it not being that, I've experienced that. And that is not a good feeling. And it is still so difficult knowing it. You're like, no, that's not what that is. That's just your brain being a monkey brain and telling you that's what it is. So my specific example is when I first went out to sea on the aircraft carrier. For some reason, I never noticed this when I was out to sea with anyone else. But like the horizon, when you're far enough out, starts to look like land in certain areas. Like when it's when there are high waves or whatever. And it is a very frustrating experience to learn that they're not that it's not land. Because it really looks like it. Like it it is so because you look to the other side and it doesn't look like that. And then you look to the side that has it and it's it is
It's
so
like a lighting
strange.
effect.
Yeah, but it's like it looks like it's solid land. Like it doesn't look like the waves are moving. It doesn't have it's darker than the rest of it. It looks exactly like what you would think. So I think of all the times people are like, land ho, all excited. And it was the equivalent of ocean equivalent of a mirage, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
And it is but that feeling sucks. And it makes you
Mhm.
feel like you can't trust yourself. But it also because when these things are true, I think is even worse. Like if I knew there was
Well,
land and I like I later figured out there was land, that would be way worse because then I know no one believes me because it is possible that it's fake.
mhm.
It's so scary.
Well, but on the obverse of that, there is scientific evidence too that people who see things that they've not experienced before and that their brains can't process will their brain will like make it into something that they do understand.
I love how often we talk about that because it really is just fascinating.
Because it's like your brain trying to protect you from something you don't comprehend. So it's like, nope, you're not looking at a spaceship flying in front of your face. That is a bird.
Yeah, or like we talk about religion so often because it's
Mhm.
fascinating the whole eyes when people talk about eyes, seeing a bunch of eyes on things,
Yeah.
their understanding of like animal eyes is the reflective in the woods kind. So I told
Mhm.
you this already, but my thinking is often that it's LEDs they're seeing and not eyes. And they're
Yeah.
defining them as eyes because at some point you haven't seen LEDs before.
Right.
And you think about the things that are so simple that we think people are stupid for not understanding, but we grew up with that or we learned it
Mhm.
young. Like I remember my bright light, like that thing was
Yeah.
so much fun. Light bright, that's what it was. Right?
Light bright.
Light bright.
Yeah.
I'm not
With the
crazy.
pegs and the colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. I
Yeah.
wanted the colors organized and Bat did not. Bat said they can all go in the lid and go
Chaos.
and I was like,
Yeah.
"Why?"
So a subject that I kind of wanted to roll into this, but if I had, we would be here for days. And I probably will talk about it at some point in the future, is like ancient technology, like from pre-Egyptian technology. And so like in Saqqara, they found a bird figurine and it's made carved out of
Where's
wood,
Sakara?
Egypt.
Okay.
So they found this little bird figurine, and it's the point of it. Its nose, it looks like a bird. It's got kind of carvings where maybe eyes would be, and then on the back of it, they're like they cut out this little section and they glued on with some manner um, flat wings. But its tail is not horizontal like a bird's. It's vertical like an airplane.
Hmm.
There is no bird in the history of ever that has a vertical tail.
So it looks like a flying fish.
Kind of, yeah.
That's what I think of planes.
Isn't that pretty wild? But in the middle of back then it wouldn't have been the desert, but in the middle of this continent of where Saqqara is, they're not going to be coming across flying fish either. And then it says that when they found that there was a carving with it that said, "I want to fly."
That's so strange. You think about just I had this random idea of a time traveler who's stuck in the past and it's like, I miss my planes.
Mm. But then also in Colombia, um, uh, it's now they're all now in the Museum of Gold in Bogota, Colombia. But they found
What a
over
title.
17 gold figurines of airplanes.
Where?
And people have in Bogota, Colombia. They weren't found in Bogota, but that's where they are now. They were found in a tomb near the Magdalena River in Colombia. But some in like 97, I think it was, it was three guys built a scale model of two of the designs. And so these things are like, like 3 to 7 inches. They're not really big.
Okay.
So these guys took two of the designs and made a scale model of them, and then put a radio-powered remote control plane in their innards and launched them. And they flew. They flew them around their little mini park or wherever they were, and then they landed them.
That's
And they
so
worked
weird.
perfectly. Yeah.
That's weird.
And both of those, the Sakara bird and those gold little figurines, that they both say that they were found, or they were created sometime around 250 to 300 BC.
That's so strange. I always wonder if
So
there's a way
over
to.
2,000 years ago.
How do they know it was created at that time?
I guess because of other things that were found at the same time. Because like they were both in tombs, so there were bodies and stuff in there.
Okay.
So those they're able to carbon date.
Right.
So they're guessing that sometime around the time that those people died was about the time that those things were made.
Okay.
But I thought that's pretty wild that 2,000 years ago they had the concept of flight.
Because you think everyone probably wants to fly, like, at one point in their life. So,
Yeah,
but then
you see a bird and it's flying, so you carve a bird. Okay, but why did you make its tail vertical?
right,
What would give you that idea?
why'd you make it look like a plane, though?
Yeah, and what would give you that idea? And the fact that they made not just made 17 of them, they're all different. Every single one of them is different.
Are they like? Because you said they were able to get them to fly pretty easily.
Yeah. Here, let me see. Yeah, I have to excuse my. So this is the Sakara. I don't know. Can you see it? It's too big.
I don't know where you're showing
That's the
me.
Sakara bird. Oh, I'm showing it on my screen.
Okay.
If you go to in Canva, if you go to it says episode ? Ancient Flight.
Like a folder?
Yeah, it's just like the one that we're in now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the Sakara bird I'm showing on my screen.
And I can see when
anybody.
you like your cursor and stuff. So if you want to
I'm
point
just trying to
stuff.
make it fit in my little square, but so you can see it's got a vertical tail, and they obviously these two other birds that I have in the same picture are in theory the same age as the Sakara bird, so they clearly knew what birds look like.
Right.
And the goose of Amun was a thing that they revered. It was like a representative of their god, of one of their gods. So they understood the concept of birds, but at the same time they made this bird that looks like a plane.
Yeah, I was going to say it really looks like a plane.
Yeah. And then this other picture, this is some of the gold figurines that look like airplanes.
That reminds me of El Dorado. All I can see is
Yes.
El Dorado.
El Dorado apparently was in Colombia, not South America.
Right.
And then these are the two guys whose faces you can't see on my screen. Come here, give it to me. Just go down. These two guys. These are them and two of the models that they built, that they flew. And then here is it actually flying. This is actually when it's coming in for a landing, but
That's so wild.
Snapshot I took from a video.
Gosh, the dogs are going crazy.
Isn't that wild?
That is so strange. It's a snapshot from the video.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably do that in another episode on all of that. But I thought it was really cool that, or really interesting that over 2,000 years ago, they were making carvings of things that were functional. And, why? Unless they had seen it. unless they'd seen it somewhere. Why would they? How would they get that idea to make so many different?
If you
'Cause,
go
I
back
mean,
to the first one, is this an actual image? Like this is a picture of the
yeah,
Saqqara bird?
that is an actual photograph of the bird.
So the part underneath is
Oh,
interesting
that's
because
a stick. They have it to hold it so they could hold it up and look at it.
okay, I was gonna say because that makes me think of like the geospatial like planes, like they're recording the
Mhm.
geography. What is that called? Canvassing planes,
So
right?
I don't know
Something
how
like
well
that.
you can see it, but in the tail, there's like a little notch out right here.
Hmm.
So their theory is that from that right there was the horizontal tail fin that would have given it the lift it would have need to successfully fly,
And it's
and
just not attached.
that it broke off at some point.
Is it on both sides?
No, it's just on that one side.
But yeah,
But
that
you can
makes
see how
sense. Because the other parts are,
here it was carved out to put the wings in there.
yeah, it looks exactly, yeah, that's super
Yeah,
interesting. Maybe you could add that to the island episode.
the island episode.
With yeah, that I always talk about it. You told me this, the island with the plane. They
Oh
worship
yes,
the
yes, yes.
plane.
You're
It's
right. I keep forgetting about that. But
like my favorite story.
and there was another point, and that I think it's the same episode. This is initially just where I saw it was discussed in Ancient Aliens episode 1. But I think it's that same episode where they talk about that the spaceships or the I think they call them moving chariots or flying chariots in uh, ancient Indian, like actual India theology. They have all these stories from their ancient past, and what theorists and scientists and people who have researched all of that stuff have come to determine is that they think that they were using some kind of liquid mercury or some kind of liquid metal as a propulsion system, and that's why it was so quiet.
Like using like wrapping it into a coal to make
Yeah, like a centrifugal
electromagnetic.
force kind of thing.
Yeah, because
Right.
you can make levitating like things look like they're well, they are technically, I guess, levitating.
Yeah. Yeah, they even those
Yeah.
little
It's
desk metal
really
things
hot
now.
though.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, that's magnets, but like the actual coal method would be coil, sorry, method. You can
Hmm.
also make it look like like a metal is just flying, like levitating in there. It's very interesting.
Pretty cool. But yeah, so after I watched the movie, they don't want you to see.
Right.
The very next thing that played was episode 1 of Ancient Aliens, and I was like, "Yeah, see, they're real.
Right.
Tell me that FTL isn't possible. They got here somehow."
And
But
it and I wonder because everyone's like, well, why wouldn't they come out? Why wouldn't they? I'm like, what if this is their way of attempting to communicate though? You
mhm.
know? Like what
Well,
if they just haven't
yeah,
figured it out?
what if they're just trying to see if we're ready to communicate? Because I mean, we're fucking crazy. I mean,
Yeah, I
our
would be
first
hiding from
theory,
us for sure.
we just want to shoot first and then ask questions later.
Right.
Let's catch it and take it apart and see if we can figure it out. I mean, what if those individual things are alive and we're just
Right.
murdering them to dissect them?
In an episode of The Simpsons, they said they make some joke. There's a kid who's living in the school, but they think it's like a creature running around. And
Hmm.
the guy's like, "There's a creature. You have to come kill it or come get it." And she's like, what did she say? It's like a whole spiel, but she's like, "Oh yes, honey, go out and hunt down this poor creature who happened to be so unlucky to stumble into the world of man." It's like
Exactly.
because we were like, "Foreign thing, murder." Like
Yeah.
we don't
I
understand it,
mean,
so it must die.
well, just like last week with the Bigfoot episode, you know, it, it makes sense why they wouldn't want to expose themselves to humans because that's exactly what they're going to do. We're going to catch one, we're going to dissect it, and then we're going to figure out how it works. And why would you want to expose yourself to that?
And they announce that too. They're not like, we're going to be sneaky about it and not even
Yeah.
like, they assume it's an unintelligent being always. They
Creature.
always assume that there's no way they could access the news and see that we wanted to dissect them. That's crazy. They haven't seen us do anything ever to any other creatures that they would know that that's exactly what we're going to do immediately. I just told you I watched Buffalo Banzai, and in that, this is the same thing. The guy like comes over and he's like, and once we'll take it in here and dissect it. And I'm like, why would you say that? Even if that's your plan, you know, like, why would you? That's like the whole, like, don't tell your meal that you're going to be chopping it up in a minute, you know? What if they understand? They're like, wait. I thought we were cool. You know, like, I thought we were going to talk. You don't have to dissect me. I'll show you already. We already did this science. I could give you our information. There's no need.
You said you were inviting me to dinner, not to be dinner.
Right. And that's like when in a movie they're like, come here so I could kill you. No. Why would I do that? I know that you're just saying dumb things because you're all worked up, but like think about it. Like, take a
Please
step.
come here. Stop running so I can get you and kill you.
Yeah. And if you think it's an intelligent life form, they probably have doctors, you know, or some people who are willing to like talk about research with you. That just blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, I think that basically wraps everything up for me. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's all I got for now.
I had a lot of fun. That went so much longer than you thought. You thought it was going to be a 15-minute episode. Here we are, an hour and a half in. And
oh my goodness.
Laughing, having a good time. Well, okay, in all fairness, it took 15 minutes for us to get started today. It was a technical difficulty.
And we got distracted a few times.
Right. Technical difficulties galore. And but otherwise, it was a lot of fun. I had a blast.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't have technical difficulty words.
Precisely.
Difficulties. See, I can't even say it. It's so difficult.
Typical.
Right,
well, and next week we're having you forgot what?
I forgot to include the outro.
But I had already gone over to it. But next week we're gonna have Serena Paris, who many, especially if you're on Kick, you probably know. Or if you watch English speaking streams and you are on Kick, you probably know who Serena Paris is. She's amazing. I'm so excited to have her on, and it's actually her birthday week, so she's going to be doing some fun things that weekend as well. We're going to do there's another thing in March. It's a lot of fun that she's doing that I'll be participating in too. But so we'll give her a nice welcome to the podcast. Maybe we'll dress up. Maybe we'll even do. Yeah, she cosplays a lot, so maybe I'll just be like, surprise. Yeah, let's all dress up. Yeah, as like maybe something Valentine's Day related, but it will be about Saint Valentine and the origins of Valentines. We're also going to be doing some Reddit readings at the end. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. All the Discord messages are like in all caps with there's so much excitement.
That's so awesome.
And until then, we appreciate all of you for liking and sharing. We appreciate it all the time, not just until the next episode, but
yes, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
So stay curious,
stay strange, and keep listening for
the Liminal Echoes.
Please follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Liminal Echoes Pod, on X at Liminal Echoes _ because X is stupid. Or if you have questions, comments, or story suggestions, you can email us at liminalechoespod@gmail.com.
Yes, please email us stuff.
Bye.
Bye.